The Polish are the only people that have successfully invaded and then conquered Russia. Technically, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which was a huge empire that extended from the Baltic Sea all the way down to the Black Sea. But before I get into the Russian and Polish history, I just want to address two runner-ups in conquering Russia. First runner-up is by far the Mongolian invasion, which conquered Russia around 1237 and led to the formation of the Khanate of the Golden Horde. But in 1237, Russia did not exist at that point. The closest thing the world had to Russia in 1237 were the principalities of the Kievan Rus. The Russia that we all know today is Muscovy Russia, and at that time that was part of the Khanate of the Golden Horde. And Russia as its own kingdom did not really come into being until 1547 under Ivan the Terrible, who kicked out all the Mongols who were ruling them. So there's a lot of historical debate as to whether or not the Muscovites have closer roots to the Kievan Rus than the Ukrainians and the Belarusians. So did the Mongols really conquer Russia? Second runner-up is World War I Germany, who actually got Russia to sign an armistice in 1917. Russia surrendered, Germany got a lot of concessions, and they took a lot of Russian land. But that doesn't count due to the sheer fact that Russia had an entire regime change due to its civil war, which saw the Tsar and his family butchered. This wasn't a different ruler, it was an entirely different system of government, and that new system of government really had no quarrel with Germany, and they also knew they couldn't win. So if Germany, led by Wilhelm II, defeated Russia, which was led at the time by Nicholas II, the Tsar, who is also his cousin, then you could say, yeah, Germany totally wiped the floor with Russia. They had a successful invasion. Then the Germans lost World War I, and they had to give back all the land that they took from Russia, so it doesn't really count. But now, back to the Polish kicking the crap out of Russia. By 1598, Tsar Fedor I of Russia died, and there was no one to replace him. It marked the end of the Rurik dynasty. And Rurik is a Swedish Viking who's considered to be the father of Russia, Ukraine, anything that could be considered Kievan Rus. So the collapse of the Rurik dynasty was a disaster for all of Russia, and this period was known for about 20 years as the Time of Troubles. Since Russia was so fractured at this time, the king of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Sigismund III, put his own ruler there in 1604. He was called the False Dmitri. This is the crazy thing about Sigismund III. He wasn't even Polish, he wasn't Lithuanian, he was actually Swedish. Sigismund was born in Sweden. His father was Swedish, but his mother was a Polish princess of the Jagiellonian dynasty, and in 1587 he was elected to be the king of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And this guy had some ambitions. When the Tsar that he selected to rule Russia was done away with, he decided to take things further and declared war in 1609. The Russians were no match for the Polish-Lithuanian army, which may have had the most battle-hardened and largest army in all of Europe. The only countries that could have possibly competed with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth were maybe Spain and maybe Sweden. And from 1609 to 1610, the Polish-Lithuanian forces made it all the way to Moscow after winning sweeping victories, one after another, namely because of the Polish winged hussars, who the Russians could not resist any advance from. And by 1610, the Polish didn't just take Moscow, they actually put up their own ruler there, Vladislav IV of House of Vasa. This guy actually ruled Russia for 3 years. The only reason why it wasn't longer is because he refused to convert from Catholicism to the Russian Orthodoxy, and the Russian nobles who initially supported him had to withdraw their support. Now, even though Poland couldn't keep the Russian throne, when the war ended in 1618, Poland got a huge chunk of land from the Russian Empire. And there you have it. The Polish-Lithuanian marched into Russia, took the capital, got rid of whoever was ruling, and put their own ruler in there and actually ruled the kingdom for a short period of time. And then when they left, they got a huge chunk of Russian land. That is a successful invasion. I am the Geo Hussar, and I made a little mistake in my previous post because I meant to say that no one has successfully invaded Russia for a little over 200 years. I just left out the over 200 years part. Thanks for watching.